Sometimes it's the goofy, lovable dads who are the actual villains of the family. From stealing his kids' credit cards to faking sick for 15 years, Hal Wilkerson radiates a pure, selfish aura. And here is exactly why Hal is the most toxic father in sitcom history.
Why don't you stop telling me what to do?
From his very first moments on screen, Hal comes off as the ultimate innocent victim. He's just a sweet roller skating guy trapped in a house with a raging wife and 4 absolute menaces. And because of his history of just fleeing the scene whenever things go horribly wrong, everyone assumes he's harmless. But honestly, that's his greatest trick.
On your left!
I know you're typing your angry comments right now defending him, but let's look at the actual tape. Whenever the kids do something completely unhinged and the house is literally burning down, what does Hal do? He either joins in or he completely crashes out and runs away, so Lois has to drop the hammer. But letting Lois take the heat is just child's play compared to what this guy was doing every single Friday for 15 straight years.
For God's sakes, do something.
Just be patient.
In season 5, Hal finds himself in court, facing down the FBI because his company is under investigation for massive corporate fraud.
Sir, this is about the company you work for.
At this point, Lois and the kids are terrified. You'd think Hal would be sweating bullets about going to federal prison, right? Well, you'd be wrong. It turns out Hal has an airtight alibi for the days the fraud took place. And when he reveals it to the judge, he drops the biggest bombshell in sitcom history.
I haven't shown up for work on a Friday in 15 years.
Hold on, bro. I mean, but how? Because this guy escaped the 9-to-5 grind with the precision of a heist movie. For 15 straight years, and I want you to pay attention to 15 years.
You didn't work on Fridays?
Yes, 15 years. Hal Wilkerson just decided that Fridays weren't for him. Not many TV dads get to have that kind of flex. But here is where the sweet dad illusion completely falls apart and the villain energy takes over.
Just make sure you stay within 30 feet of this backpack.
Don't worry. I've got the ankle bracelet completely camouflaged.
While Hal was out there living his best life, riding roller coasters, going to the aquarium, and visiting batting cages, his family was living in absolute crushing poverty. They were literally eating hot dog buns and oatmeal for dinner because they couldn't afford groceries.
Ugh. Expired 2 months ago.
I mean, are you serious, Hal? Damn it.
I was chosen to be a junior trainer at Oceanland.
Everything about that screams peak aura villain. You'd think lying to his starving family for 15 years and blowing their much-needed cash on secret days off would be his lowest point.
No.
Hal's financial crimes don't stop there. Wait until you see how he treated his own savings account.
You see, you kids have to realize that all jobs are awful, and there's nothing that you can do about that.
And I need you to picture this. When most dads hit a midlife crisis, they buy a sports car. Hal has a complete mental breakdown, leaves his job, and bankrupts his family to become a bootlegger, Picasso.
You quit your job?
Lois, please, give me a little more credit than that. No.
In season 2, Hal bombs a career day presentation at Dewey's school and realizes he absolutely hates his corporate life. Now, a normal dad might just update his resume or ask for a transfer. Hal? He completely checks out mentally, takes a leave of absence, and decides he is destined to be a master painter.
I just talked about doing a thing that has been in my head for years.
The painting?
Yes, I can see it so clearly.
Hal really thought he was the next Picasso, but instead, he just bankrupted his family for the 3rd time this month. This guy takes whatever miserable budget they have left and completely blows it on literal gallons and gallons of paint for a massive, obsessive art project. I mean, look at this. The man is out here looking like a Smurf while his wife is trying to figure out how to pay the electric bill. How does one man cause so much collateral damage with a single paintbrush? Anyway, his level of focus on this canvas is almost pure aura, until you realize he's actively starving his children to fund his own delusions of grandeur.
It's your father's turn to give something.
In season 6, Hal's Christmas Gift, the family is so completely broke that they agree to only make handmade gifts for each other.
This will be a handmade Christmas.
But when Hal realizes his homemade project is absolute trash compared to Lois's thoughtful gift, his ego simply can't take the hit. So what does a normal dad do? Apologize? Try again? But you forget we are talking about Hal. He packs the entire family into the car and just starts driving to nowhere, stalling for time while lying through his teeth that he has a massive surprise waiting for them.
Saw those presents, Lois. What was I supposed to do? My presents were crap. What did you make them?
But here is where the story goes from a funny sitcom misunderstanding to actual prosecutable fraud. During the road trip, the family discovers that Malcolm, the boy genius, secretly has a credit card. And while Malcolm is distracted, Hal underhandedly swipes the card right out of his own son's wallet. Hal then pulls into a high-end ski resort and maxes out the stolen card to pay for a luxury vacation, just so he doesn't look bad on Christmas. But hold on, bro, because die-hard fans notice something completely unhinged on the freeze frame. If you zoom in on the card Hal is using, it doesn't say Malcolm Wilkerson. It says Reese Wilkerson. Whatever. Hal doesn't care whose name is on the plastic. He just maxes it out anyway. That's a level of pettiness and fraud I aspire to have. Think about the layers of crime happening here. Malcolm commits identity theft to open a credit card in his delinquent brother's name, and then Hal steals the fraudulent card to bankrupt both of them on a ski trip. I mean, just disgusting. This man was playing 4D chess with his kids' financial futures.
Want some hot chocolate by the fire, huh?
And speaking of stealing from Malcolm, credit cards weren't the only thing Hal hijacked from his genius son.
Well, I'd go with a flamethrower. That would destroy everything within a 10-foot perimeter.
Look, leaving a dad alone for the weekend usually means ordering pizza and watching TV. For Hal, it means turning a middle school robotics project into an Avengers-level threat. When Lois leaves town for a few days, Malcolm and the Krellboynes decide to build a robot for a school competition. It's supposed to be fun. But the second Hal gets a look at those blueprints, he completely reverts to his pre-marriage wild man persona and pushes the genius kids right out of their own garage.
Dad,
Hey, boys.
guys want the... Are you smoking?
So they're snobs.
Hal decides their design is way too weak. He upgrades it with a buzzsaw that can slice a chair in half, a high-voltage probe, and a flamethrower. But that's not enough for him. This crazy man eventually emerges from the garage with a fully functioning, remote-controlled murder machine equipped with a literal laser-guided bee cannon.
Call animal control.
Let's be real. How did a broke paper pusher engineer a remote-control bee launcher in a single weekend? Until you realize he essentially stole a bunch of 12-year-olds' homework just to flex his own destructive power, because his wife wasn't home to stop him. Now, if you had to fight Hal's bee gun robot, what weapon would you choose? Let me know down in the comments, and let's get back to the madness. The secret hot tub, living like a king in poverty. If you want to see pure, unfiltered selfishness, just look at how far Hal will go to prove he didn't waste the family's cash.
See? Absolutely perfect.
In Season 5's Hot Tub, the family is, as always, struggling to make ends meet. So what does the patriarch of the family do? He blows their tight budget on a discounted hot tub.
$2,800! I can't believe you!
That is a level of financial irresponsibility I genuinely aspire to have. Instead of buying groceries or paying the bills, Hal is out here trying to live like a Roman emperor in the backyard. But Lois instantly calls him out for burning their money on this unnecessary garbage. Does Hal admit defeat, sell it, and get their cash back? No, he doubles down. To prove to Lois that this wasn't a terrible investment, he insists the tub is peak luxury. The problem? He has no idea how to actually maintain it. The water literally turns into a toxic biohazard. We're talking about heavy fungus and actual wild frogs swimming around in the tub. But Hal refuses to take the L. He sits in this murky swamp, marinating in a literal science experiment just to prove to Lois that he is getting his money's worth. He would rather contract a new strain of bacteria than confess he made a bad purchase. Peak villain energy.
Just buckle up and drive slowly. Get there late, but get there.
Look, I know, everyone makes financial blunders, and in Season 7, Hal commits the ultimate financial blunder. He forgets to pay the family's health insurance premium.
You're telling me my family hasn't had health insurance for the last 6 months?
They won't be covered until Monday, meaning if anyone gets hurt over the weekend, it will instantly bankrupt them.
Can't wait until Monday to reinstate us. We can't go through the whole weekend without health insurance.
Now, a normal husband would bite the bullet, confess to his wife, and figure it out. But Hal? Hal crashes out entirely to save his own skin.
You're all grounded in your room for the rest of the weekend.
We can't do that.
Hold on, bro. How? He is so terrified of Lois finding out he made a mistake that he literally places his own children under house arrest. He grounds the boys for absolutely no reason, traps them in their bedroom, and bubble wraps the entire house. He drives everyone completely insane and risks his kids' mental health, all to cover up his own massive financial screw-up.
Mother's home, boys. Help me up.
I mean, he would rather subject his entire family to psychological torture than admit he forgot to mail a single envelope. Peak villain energy.
Gentlemen, start your excitement because here they come!
The stock car races Betrayal, framing the kids. You might be thinking, well, at least Hal takes the kids out to do fun stuff.
Why don't I drive your boys to school today?
And you'd be right. But even his fun dad moments are laced with pure betrayal. In Season 1, Hal secretly pulls the boys out of school for a fun day at the stock car races. They have a blast, but when they get home, they walk straight into an inescapable ambush. Lois is already waiting for them. She got a tip-off from Malcolm's teacher that they skipped school.
But when Malcolm didn't show up for school
What?
today,
Malcolm cut school today?
And she spent the entire day hunting down all the contraband the boys had hidden around the house. When Hal and the kids step through the front door, all their secret stash is laid out on the table, and Lois is just sitting there, sipping tea with a terrifying smile. Hal robbed them of their education for the day, only to confidently march his own children right into a literal slaughterhouse. Yikes! Number 6, the Steamroller Spree. In Season 4, Hal stumbles across a steamroller with the keys left inside. A responsible father with 4 kids living in poverty would probably just keep driving to work. But not Hal. Hal uses this opportunity to satisfy a lifelong adolescent daydream and just straight up steals the industrial-sized steamroller. From the moment he fires up that engine, Hal radiates pure main character energy. He becomes completely addicted to crushing things. Throughout the episode, he completely ignores his family while he goes on a marauding steamroller spree. He is literally out here defying the laws of sanity without fail.
If you don't tell your mother, I'll let you squash something.
can I squash Reese's bike?
Sure.
If it weren't for little Dewey having the absolute guts to step in front of a multi-ton machine and place his cherished statue in its path, Hal would have probably flattened the entire tri-state area. But at least the steamroller incident was out in the open. Our final piece of evidence proves Hal was just as destructive behind closed doors. In Season 6's Stilts, Hal discovers a premium 1-900 chat line. Now, most people would know this is an expensive adult hotline that charges by the minute. Hal, however, just uses it as his own personal therapy session, calling them up to complain about his mundane day and rambling about his feelings.
Well, big spender, I can keep going as long as you can.
He literally blows an $800 hole in the household budget just talking to strangers on the phone.
You cannot charge me $800 for a phone call I never agreed to. This is wrong and unethical.
And when the bill arrives, he knows Lois will actually end his life. But rather than own up to it and take the heat like a normal husband, Hal pulls the most devious, villainous move of his entire run on the show.
Fleas and ticks. Lucky 8 bug bombs, only $2.49.
Enter Malcolm. The poor kid has been publicly humiliating himself all week, working a miserable, dangerous job on giant stilts outside the Lucky Aid just to save up some of his own cash. So, how does Hal fix his $800 problem? He sneaks in and straight up steals Malcolm's hard-earned stilt money to pay off his own Hotline debt.
It's 30 cents an hour more. You get to work outside and wave to all your friends.
Yikes. Everything about this screams peak Aura villain. He bankrupts the family on a phone sex line, watches his teenage son suffer in the sun to make money, and then robs him blind to cover his own tracks. When you stack all these up, there's only one logical conclusion we can draw about the patriarch of the Wilkerson family. Hal might have 5-star charisma, but in the grand scheme of things, he's batting absolutely zero in the responsible dad department. Sure, we all love his roller skating routines and his goofy dancing, but the reality is, this man is a walking natural disaster. Hal Wilkerson truly is the ultimate force of nature, but you would never, ever want him balancing your checkbook. So the next time you watch Malcolm in the Middle, just remember, Lois isn't the villain. She's just the only one keeping the real villain from crashing out.